the Cholas. You're writing this book at a time when they are sexy again. I don't know if they were ever sexy, but we are very interested in the Cholas today. Primarily because we as a nation want to look back, find someone in our history that's not British or Mughal.
I had this idea that the Cholas are these great conquerors, and then to see a Deccan perspective on them where they appear as outsiders was very surprising, because from the Deccan perspective, here you have the Deccanese talking about how the Cholas are destroying temples, they're talking about the Chola army committing all kinds of atrocities.
So there's the right wing, then there's the left, but there is this, bona fide academic person who studied history that may tend to look down at you and say that what is this public historian? What is this pop historian?
Increasingly, I found that academic historians are as diverse as any group of people. There are going to be the snooty, oh, you didn't study under XYZ, you didn't have this fellowship, you didn't go to this college, so you're not really welcome here. But there'll also be the folks who are like, wow, thank you for writing about my work.
The most exciting thing about Cholas, and that's why we are so interested in them today, is the military might. But you kind of completely upturn that. You're suggesting that it's actually through the ingenuity of the Tamil merchants, because of which Cholas were able to expand, conquer.
We need to think about medieval states on the basis of what medieval evidence tells us rather than what nationalist pandering and yearning in the 21st century tells us. There's no inscriptions of the Cholas overseas, there's no mentions of Chola princes being stationed overseas, but there is evidence of inscriptions made by these Tamil merchants where they don't mention the Chola kings at all.
Kings were using religion in a way that was convenient for them, sometimes to strike alliances, sometimes to show their might, but would it have an impact on the general people?
What's most important for us to remember is the medieval world is bloody complicated. It is not the simple world of noble kings and queens.
What was the life of a Dalit like under a Chola king?
So,
did they practice untouchability?
There's inscriptional proof.
So when these assemblies were congregating, would they have representation of Dalits, or that would not happen?
Medieval kings, as I said again and again, didn't have that kind of power. Instead, what you see is something very similar to contemporary India, where it's the middle caste who are most responsible for the function in the caste system, and they are not only trying to seize a position under the topmost in the hierarchy, they're also pushing down against those below.
Even the bit that you're talking about middle castes, versus that would not fly with a lot of people who would criticize you, for example, for furthering a Brahminical agenda.
Everything about history has become about binaries. If you're not with this, then you must be with them. But the fact of it is that, yes, it does get me in trouble in both sides of the political spectrum, but let's be very frank, it's mostly with the right wing, because the right wing has been the most aggressive in trying to rewrite history to meet its political objectives.